All right. Hello, everybody. So, got lucky. It's super late, but it did rain, so that works out for me because it means it's not too hot in the garage. So this is going to be our first video, and at least first video for the return. And it's on my XB3 crossbow by Extreme Bows. And that's extreme spelled with an E like that. If you look it up and you come across a website that is Extreme Bows spelled with an X, you are at the wrong website. That is a fraudulent website. And I'm not paid to say that or anything, and none of this, I'm not sponsored by this or anything like that. I found that website before finding this one, and then found out later that I bought from the wrong guy, because that thing ended up being a total bust and a big waste of money. Anyways, carrying on. So the XB3 crossbow is a 3D printed, rapid repeating crossbow. So this lever here, almost kind of like a cross between a lever action and a pump action. You're gonna bring it forward and bring it back in, and what that does is it brings this entire upper receiver area here, it brings it completely forward. It's going to stick out to like about here, and when it does that, it's basically bringing the arrows forward till they catch on the string here, and then as it comes back, it catches the string and pulls the whole assembly to the rear and back into place like this. But the bow will be cocked. Once it's cocked, you can take your aim and shoot. So the cool thing is with this, well, there's a lot of cool things with this that I'll get to, but one of the first things is this upper area, this magazine, I guess is what you could call it. It is removable, and it's removable but with just this little finger turn here, so it's super convenient, and I'll show you guys that once I get to that part. And the reason it swaps out is because it swaps out to these other two magazines, which this one is a magazine that fires these arrows. They are, as you can see, 7-inch. I think it's like 7.2 or something like that, but the other ones are these broadheads, 6.3 inches. It's interchangeable. It can fire either one depending on whatever magazine you put in it. And these are, I believe, 10 millimeter balls. I'd have to double check, but they're 10 millimeter steel ball bearings. And so if you wanted to, say you were hunting small game like, birds, waterfowl, maybe, you might want to choose to use the ball bearings because you're going to have less damage. You're going to stun the bird rather than pierce it and damage internals and stuff like that, which can taint the meat and really ruin the flavor of whatever it is you're going to eat, when it comes to poultry especially. So in that regard, you would want to use the ball bearings. But yeah, it's perfectly capable of firing these ball bearings. I think it says in the stats that it can fire these 313 feet per second, 10 millimeter ball bearing. I don't know how much those weigh, so you'd have to look that up and then do the math on what the amount of energy that is. So this particular model, I purchased it originally as an XB3 or a XB3 GRIZZLY 2.0, and the GRIZZLY 2.0, where it's different from this one, is that this one uses a carbon fiber bow limb, and string classic crossbow style. And the Grizzly uses this specially made 3D printed uh I'm not mechanism in the front, and really really dope because this thing is also interchangeable. So it has a special fitted post here in the center, and it attaches. I'm trying to work with my camera stand here, kind of getting in the way of my shot. It goes into this slot here, this middle part. It goes into the same slot that the crossbow limb goes into, and with that you can then run your string here. You run it through, obviously, where the bowstring goes through. And the cool thing is that that attaches to these. Now, these are elastic bands, high tension elastic bands. They're really, they're not just, regular rubber bands. They're high tension. You got to order these separately. But yeah, these, you're able to make these, lengthen these or shorten these, which that's what that's going to do, is that's going to increase your draw length. And when you increase your draw length, you're going to get better output of power. So but what I wanted to show here was that um if you intend to be in extremely high temperatures, and by extremely high temperatures, I'm talking like 127 degrees or higher, and by that also like long periods of time, like hours, I probably wouldn't advise using this version of the uh, bow limb, because what that does is, being that it's plastic and these bands are technically like constantly under tension, if you do like what I did when I went camping one time out here in Arizona in the summer, and I left this in the tent pretty much sitting exactly like this, leaning on its side, but it had this one on the front. And what ended up happening was, over time it got really hot, and then those two parts warped. Uh, and not only that, but from leaning on its side, it caused the stock to warp, and the whole thing was, like askew by the tiniest bit, but nonetheless, it didn't look right. And then the magazine, like it had some warping, and that was because of the pressure from the front, from the tension, that it was like basically pushing it this way. But fortunately, it's really well made, so the body itself didn't suffer any effects. It was just those external components that were being under pressure from the tension of these bands. Um, but so yeah, I mean, but what are the likelihood of being in that sort of scenario is, it's highly unlikely. But as you can see there, it like that's where it kind of warped it like that, you see, and it even caused the hinge there to warp and crack it in one point there. But the customer service with the company, the guy that runs the whole setup, he is a very cool dude and was very gracious. He also has a very good warranty policy on these things. I believe it's 10 years. Um, and so when I called him, or not called him, but when I messaged him and emailed him, let him know what happened, he really had no issue with aside from the shipping I paid for, sending me out some new parts. And at the time, he had just come out with these speed loading magazines for this, and so I ordered a couple of those, and I believe this one in particular he sent me just like as a consolation. I think it might have been slightly shorter than what they're supposed to be. So like, but it's still totally functional. But I think it only holds like 12 arrows instead of 14. So he sent me that one, which was really cool of him. And then he also sent me this, but not for free. I paid for this along with another one of these I bought. And the other ones hold 14. Uh, And so this holds 8 of these 7-inch broadhead bolts. And I mean, it's really sweet to like be able to just slide that on, press your thumb in, and it just racks all of them in there. Same with these. It can do it with that. It can do it with these training. That's a little dark in there, but those are training arrows, bolts. They don't have the broadhead. They're just a metal point. Um, let's see. Trying to think of more goodies with this. You also have, set you guys there real quick. All right. So we also have a folding stock, which I think is just freaking sweet. So you get the option of running this thing, short, or you can do it, full length, just like any rifle, really. I mean, I suppose you could say that that's kind of the ultimate goal of the format of this, is for it to be, as close to a rifle format. I guess in this case specifically like a carbine style or M4 style. And I mean, come on, as far as crossbows go, it is sweet, And unfortunately, I won't be able to give a demonstration of how rapidly you can fire this thing. But I will show you guys that you can fire it one round after another. But yeah, this thing, you can fire it really fast. And the reason I'm not is because I'm not made of money, and I've already got plenty of practicing through this bow limb. And, I don't want to go rapid firing and take the chance of it snapping on me. That would be not gonna have a bad time. That's why you don't pizza when you're gonna French fry. All right. Awkward jokes aside, I'm gonna get this in place and show you guys. A couple shots at our target here. And unfortunately, this thing is, fortunately, but this thing is extremely powerful. And we're talking, you could, I would say you could very easily hunt coyotes with this, or javelina, small game like that. I mean, it's just these bolts go screaming. So you're going to have to watch these targets really closely, because you're probably not going to see where it goes, because they bury completely into this target. Excuse me, target here. So let's see if you guys. Oh, let me make sure I put safety glasses on. Always wear your PPE. Cool thing is you don't need to wear ear pro with these, obviously, because. So here we go. That's how that cocks. And then I in particular, I have a laser, and I've got a close combat optic, which is, I don't even know the brand of the laser in the optic. It's all, I bought the kind that you would use for airsoft, because really there's no point. It's not like I'm going to put a hollow sun on this thing. That would cost more than the unit itself, which was about, I want to say, $235 for this one, just so you guys know. And of course, I got the flashlight on there, but Yahoo, nothing special. Everybody's seen that. All right. So I'm going to go for second target down. Let's go for the blue balloon. just below. Let's see. I want to say we hit like right there, and where I had it was right here, right dead center. So pretty sweet accuracy, pretty nice accuracy, especially at a close distance like this. I mean, you know, it better be pretty accurate at this distance. But I can tell you that I fired this from about 25 feet before, on up to about 40 feet, and it can go farther. I would say that it's probably got a range of about 30 to 40 yards, maybe closer to 30. Uh, and I mean, I had no issue with accuracy. The only time you're going to have deviation in your accuracy is when it's pretty much a manufacturing thing when it comes to your bolts, because at times these fins can get damaged because they're just um, plastic. I don't know, or silicone, whatever that material is. And sometimes that can happen, and especially if you're practicing, which is why in particular I would not advise practicing with your broadhead bolts, because for one, these things are going to get torn up really quickly. These tips are not, they're not made for like repeated use over and over and over. And these shorter ones in particular, the 6.3-inch bolts, they they have an aluminum shaft, so when they enter the target, oftentimes they start to get warped and bent. So when you fire them, you'll start getting deviations in the flight of your bolt. You get that a little less so with these larger ones because they're made of carbon fiber. So they're a bit more forgiving when it comes to the flex. Okay, so let's go for another one here. And so I cocked the last one, grabbing from the rear. I'll show you guys going from this front one. I prefer the rear one when I cock it. It's just easier. You get better leverage. Let's see, and also when you use this, especially if you're going to put sights on it, do be prepared to have, and not in a negative way, but just in a different way, your sight picture is going to be a bit different because it's got a much more neutral head position, I guess you could say. So just be aware of that. Let's go for the blue balloon on the right. Pulled it a little bit. I did. Let's see where we hit. Yeah, I pulled it. I was aiming here, hit it here. But as you can see, I mean, it's gone. I wish I could do the thing where I like pull it out. Hey, look, that's the amount of penetration, but that's not how it goes with this. Not with the small ones, at least. With the longer ones. Oh, look, there's one that I shot the other day. All right. Now, I think what I'll do here is let's move on. Let's show you guys. Swap out. So you're going to unscrew your finger turn. Normally what I do is I actually have a small electric screwdriver. You want one that's like, the pen kind that has really low torque. And I just use that with the appropriate size bit and just zzz, and it comes out really fast. But for the sake of the video, I didn't want to be fumbling around with stuff while I'm trying to look through the camera. And I should have dumped those out first, but of no consequence. All right. And we're going to take our mag for the 7-inch bolts, and that's going to slot. It's going to slot right in, just like that. Make sure it's all seated properly. Now, unfortunately for me, I ordered some training bolts, the 7-inch ones, but they didn't arrive on time. So I am only going to fire, I'll sacrifice 2 of them. We'll fire 2 of these 7-inch bolts. So let me see, is that getting a good view? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. All right. So it slides on, bring it all the way back, and then you can press down. Did I get everything? Yep, got it all. Oh, got a straggler. Now, mind you, when I'm not fumbling around with a camera and whatnot, it's a much smoother action. But that's the gist of how you load it with the speed mags. Otherwise, just like any other crossbow, you're laying them in one at a time. Now, this is going to be pretty sweet. It's always fun to shoot the 7-inch bolts. They just smack. You know, they smack so much different. And apologies if, you know, the camera's a bit shaky and all over the place. I'm only just getting the hang of how to do all this stuff. All right. Same thing. Coming forward. As you can see, when I came forward, you could kind of see all of them drop. Bring it back. Now, also something to consider is that when you go from the smaller boats to the larger ones, your sight might be slightly different because, you know, the larger bolts are going to fly slightly different. They're going to have, you know, a bit more drop, things like that. So there's other factors to consider in that. So, you know, I guess an option would be you could probably zero sight your laser for one and then your CCO for the other. You know, it's up to you. But there's options. All right. Let's go for the orange one. Center mass. I mean, come on. Come on. Let's do one more. I don't even know if my phone's still recording. Let's go for the green one, center mass. Oh my goodness. Got that one dead on. Almost. So there you go. Oh, look at that. Completely damaged this arrow. These arrows are screwed. Well, not screwed. I can replace these vanes. That's what they're called. I can replace them, but, you know, as of right now, you're not going to be refiring these. I can't pull that out. this target. It's this box, okay, is completely sandwiched with layered styrofoam and cardboard boxes, layered and layered and layered. So those arrows punching that deep into there like that, we're talking a crap ton of power. Try not to cuss so much. So I mean, you can, I don't want to make any claims. If you were to ask me, I would say if you had to bring down a slightly larger animal, I feel like you probably could. But it would take, some real careful stalking and getting pretty close, I would have to think. But definitely if you're hunting something smaller like coyotes, javelina, like I said, I mean, this thing is going to get it done for you. So if you're trying to get one, or if this is interesting to you, if it's caught your eye, also this stock is adjustable. I forgot to mention that. And if you remove the stock completely, which I don't want to do because I got to unscrew some piece out of there to do so. If it has, the stock has this neat little storage slot where you could probably put like another bowstring, maybe some ball bearings. Oh yeah, so let's do the ball bearings, and then we'll close out this video. Hopefully you guys like it. I hope I did a pretty decent job. I mean, it's like 11:30 at night. And regardless of the fact that it's raining, it is still like 102 degrees in my garage right now. So I hope I'm not missing anything, and I hope I've made this sufficiently interesting enough at least. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty more, and the more I do this, the better I'll get at, filming, learning to keep the camera steady. I'm sure people are probably going to be like, dude, you need to learn how to keep the camera still. No argument with you there. Doing my best, man. So what you're going to do is you want to take this out. You want to bring it all the way out so that way you can pull this slot out. In order to fire the bearings, you need to pull this slot out. So you bring it all the way forward, and then you can just, with your nail, you can just click and the whole thing slides out. Bring that out. Oh, shoot. Don't want to bring it out enough to where you cock it though, to where the clip goes past your string. And if you do, what you want to do is hold the trigger and then just lightly bring it back, and then you're golden. So let's put this bearing mag on there. And I do feel like you guys are going to be quite surprised with how these bearings fire, because I mean, don't play around and shoot your buddy with these. Let me tell you that. I'll say that first and foremost. Always with practice the same safety you practice with a firearm when it comes to this thing, because it's just as dangerous, at least to a certain distance. If you like I said, if you get out past 30 yards or so, yeah, danger level drops greatly. But if you're doing target practice or doing something like how I'm doing in my garage with your buddies and just getting some pop shots off at a target, don't be fucking around and playing around, and you're gonna hurt one of yourselves or one of your buddies. So this functions the same way. It's got a a coating on the inside of the magazine that I think is just super dope. I don't, I'm just fascinated by it, but it's a coating on the inside that it makes it so this is really quiet as opposed to having, you know, ball bearings clacking around on plastic. I mean, especially if you're trying to hunt birds, you don't want that happening. You want it to be something quiet that if you lean, it's not going to make all kinds of noise. So, same thing though. I like to give it a shake to kind of shake them to the front, but you don't have to. There's already one that falls like in a pre recessed hole there. So, like, you know, I just do it out of habit. And it's not the way I'm cocking it with with a. That's more my hesitation. It's not that this thing's hard to cock. It's just be like I said. I've run a ton of practice through this limb, so like I'm just trying to be ginger with it. All right, let me just try and go in the middle of all them balloons there in the center mass. Actually, you know what? Let's get an alien. I mean, that's fun. One good turn deserves another. Although I got to say that shot was pretty off. So the sights, as far as how the bearings are flying, is off. Yeah, it's shooting high, I think. Let's go take a look. Okay, well, not too bad. Oh no, wait, that's from from something else. Oh, okay, I see where we hit. So we hit here and here. I was aiming dead center here. So yeah, if you're gonna use the bearings, it's going to be something that you're, you know, especially if you're going to be hunting in particular, you're probably going to want to make sure that you sight it first, and then you know, keep that as the specific form of ammunition that you're going to be using. So anyways, that's my presentation of the XB3 GRIZZLY 2.0 by Extreme Bows. I hope it was entertaining. I hope I didn't move the camera around too much. If I did, please forgive me. As you can see, I'm also working with a new shop. Got a ton of new space now, as opposed to what you can see in my other videos is basically just my living room with a plastic fold-out table, that little black one in particular, actually, and painter's tarp on the floor. That was my old workshop. So my new workshop, hey, I got a big old whole thing with a bunch of space. It's wonderful. So, that being said, hopefully you guys will be seeing a lot more of my new stuff coming up, which is going to be getting this dang on bike finished and getting my dang on engine swapped with a matching engine of what I'm putting on here, which is going to be this BT100 version 2. And there's the other kit. And the only reason that I haven't been able to finish these yet is because, man, I hate sounding like I'm bad mouthing anybody, but you know, they kind of did me. Bikeberry did me pretty dirty. It's being sorted out now, but you know, at a snail's pace. And it started off at a snail's pace, and then when the product came to me, there was all kinds of issues. I mean, just to show you guys one small one in particular, if you look at that, I mean, what are we doing, guys? You're shipping this? You're shipping that to people? with corrosion like that on it. And that corrosion is to the point where I couldn't clean it off. I had to call them, and on top of that, look at this. Look at that. The little chip isn't the biggest issue, but the real issue is if you look at it, look at how deformed that is. So I can't even get the carburetor on it, which was one of the things that I explained to them. And when I sent them the pictures, they tried to say that it was just cosmetic damage. I was like, no, it's just not cosmetic damage. I can't get the carburetor on. And then they sent it with wrong parts. And then it turned out that it wasn't that they sent it with wrong parts. It's that they misadvertised what it came with. There's a whole bunch of stuff I'm going to get into. I'll get into it in a separate video. But yeah, so that's what I'm working with now. I got a new shop. Hey, everything's great and cool and going good. And so XB3 GRIZZLY by Extreme Bows. Go check it out. Get up on it, because what I just demonstrated to you here is literally a model that's like a few years old. He's now got models that are, so this receiver here, this upper magazine receiver, it's he's got it designed where the top is open, and unlike magazines like this where you got to slide it on and then press all the arrows in, it's literally just a magazine of arrows that you just slap it in and it locks in and it's ready to go. So I mean, I want to get in on that as soon as I can. It's because it's just freaking sweet. I'm sure the question will come up, what when it comes to like home defense for this. I would advise against it, actually. Not necessarily because I don't think it would be effective. I think it would be highly effective, but because it brings in all kinds of complications of legality. And those things vary from state to state. So that's like, it's a can of worms that I don't even want to open on a YouTube comment section. So, but I mean, this thing is sweet. Hunting, fun, just shooting around when you go camping or whatever, or just getting some target practice in, and because you can't go to the range or whatever. I mean, this is where it's at. Aside from, when you get into pre-charged pneumatics, that's a whole other field that I'm going to be showing you guys when I show you guys the HDR 68 and my X68 Pastel Intrabuster by Defense Innovations. That's going to be a whole different thing. Primarily, though, we're going to be talking about the bikes usually. These are going to be the stars of the show, right? So I hope you guys liked it. I hope I didn't make you dizzy with all the movement of the camera. And I hope you guys show up to the next one. All right. See you guys later.